Hello, this is Susan from Mystic Artistry Podcast. This is a space for storytelling, reflection, creativity, nature, and intuition. A place where we slow down, become a little more aware, and listen closely for what is quietly unfolding within us. Today, I want to talk about something I've been saying for most of my life, almost without thinking about it. I've always said I pick and choose my own battles. And for a long time, I thought that meant I was someone who avoided conflict, someone who didn't push back enough, someone who let things go. But when I really started to look at it, I realized something else entirely. When I was a child, there were a lot of bullies around me. But there's one moment that has stayed with me very clearly. There was a boy in my neighborhood, and he would threaten me, not just me, but my younger brother. He would pick my brother up by his shirt, his feet dangling off the ground, and he would say things like, "I'm going to kill him," if I didn't do what he said. And when I think back on it now, it was horrible. And what's interesting is, I didn't care as much about what he said to me, but when it came to my brother, something in me changed. I would not tolerate it. I remember one moment so clearly. I went as far as sitting in a pile of ants just to get him to let go of my brother. And even now, saying it out loud, it sounds almost unbelievable, but I did it. Because in that moment, protecting him mattered more than anything else. And I realize as I say this, there may be people who hear this and find something about it as being almost comical. And I understand that reaction because I've seen it before. But for me, there was nothing funny about it. It was fear. It was protection. It was doing whatever I could in the moment to keep someone I loved safe. Sometimes what looks strange or even absurd from the outside is actually something very real when you're inside it. I think that's where something began for me. I started to understand, even as a child, that I couldn't fight everything. But there were certain things I would never let pass. As I got older, that pattern stayed with me. I had a parent who was very strong, very disciplined, and I didn't conform very easily. I pushed back, I questioned things, but I couldn't fight every battle. So I started choosing where I would stand my ground and where I would let things go. And what stayed with me into adulthood, even now in my marriage, there are moments where I don't feel understood, especially when it comes to my creativity and expression. And I don't always fight that. I don't always try to explain it. I tune out. And I've become very, very good at tuning out. I learned how to do this from childhood on. But there was always one place where I did not do that. In my music and in my art. I was always willing to learn. I loved music and art history. I loved understanding. But I never wanted to be told how I should express something. I learned the rules, but I didn't belong in them. There was something in me that just wouldn't bend. And I see that now in how I teach. When a student doesn't want to practice something, or they resist a piece, I don't force it. And sometimes the parent looks at me like I'm giving up too easily. And I say to them, I pick and choose my battles, and this one isn't worth it. Because I know what it feels like to be pushed in a way that shuts something down deep down inside you. And I see this everywhere now. There's so much anger, so much urgency to react, to argue, and I don't engage. I tune out. But I also make a conscious choice not to step into something that doesn't feel right. And there's something else I've been noticing. I've seen families, friendships end over differences in political viewpoints. And I don't fully understand that. Because to me, not every difference needs to become a dividing line. But here's the part that really changed my understanding of myself. There are places in my life where I don't pick and choose. When it comes to my children, I become something else entirely. If something hurt my child, I was there, not tuning out, not stepping back. And even with my dogs, when one of them was attacked, I didn't let it go. And when I was teaching in the public school system, I never tolerated bullying. Part of that came from my own life, watching my son go through that and how heartbreaking it was. I fought for him, and sometimes I did not win. But in my classroom, I didn't let it pass. I would stop everything. I would talk to them deeply, directly. I remember taking a piece of paper and saying, "This is you." And then I would crumple it, step on it, and ask them, "What do you think that feels like?" We talked about how we're all different, like a tossed salad, and that those differences are what makes things beautiful. So I see something clearly now. I was never someone who couldn't confront things. I just didn't waste the energy on things that didn't matter. Because when something did matter, when someone was being hurt, I didn't tune out. I stepped in. Maybe choosing our battles isn't about avoiding conflict. Maybe it's about preserving our strength for the moments that truly call for it. As always, I am listening.